40 seconds. So let's Hello, everyone. Let's throw us back up. Well, so everyone who is watching can see us. Where are we? Hi. Let's get into my script so I can do this all like formally and officially because I'm organized. Welcome to Lightbox, the official animation podcast of Wanimate, the West Australian Animation Association. Whether you're an aspiring animator, a seasoned professional, or simply a fan of the magical world of animation, you've come to the right place. My name is Tanya Beeson.
I'm David.
I'm Nathan.
Out of sequence.
I thought because I was below you in the video, I was like,
That's good. And anyway. Of course Lindsay as well, and we'll be your guide on this monthly journey into the heart of the animation industry in Western Australia. I say monthly in that we can never get this right, but we will eventually.
We aim for monthly, roughly.
We're in the month generally. Each month, Lightbox will bring you the latest and the greatest in animation news, from upcoming films and shows to industry discussions that will inspire and empower the talented animators who call Western Australia home. We'll also delve into the creative processes, challenges faced by our local animators as they work tirelessly to bring their unique visions to life. So buckle up and get ready to be amazed as we explore the vibrant, ever-evolving world of Western Australian animation. This is Lightbox, and we're just getting started. On that, we wish to acknowledge and honour the traditional custodians of the land we are streaming from, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. We recognise and celebrate their enduring culture, the rich tapestry of Indigenous arts, and the invaluable contributions they make to the vibrancy and cultural diversity of this city and region.
And before we dive into today's content, I'd like to issue a quick advisory warning. While our channel is generally suitable for most audiences, there may be occasions when we delve into topics or showcase content that might not be appropriate for younger audiences. We strive to create engaging, enjoyable content for everyone, but please be advised some material may not be suitable for children. Parental discretion is advised, and we encourage you to review the content before sharing it with younger audiences. Our goal is to provide a safe and enjoyable viewing experience for all, and we appreciate you understanding and supporting us. So we might swear occasionally, but we'll keep it.
That's the general, broad hint to get Tanya to stop swearing. Yeah. Okay, we'll deal with that as we go. So, okay. So once we've got that, let's introduce Nathan. So Nathan is our guest today. Welcome, Nathan.
Hey.
Nathan is a cartoonist and 2D animator living in Walpole, WA. He's the creator of the newspaper comic Walpole Kids, which you might have seen floating around. I see it pop up quite often on my various social media. Yes. I think we spam each other. I think is the big thing. And creator of various popular Doctor Who related YouTube shorts from many years ago as well. So a big Doctor Who fan.
Somewhat.
Tell us about yourself. Tell us what you do, Nathan. So where do you come from? What's the deal? What's your background?
I'm sort of 50-50 English-Australian, and I studied animation in Plymouth in England, and halfway through my course, all the tutors were fired, and the rest of the course was a bit rubbish.
Good grief.
But tried my best. I worked on a children's program for the BBC for a little while as animator, and then I've made a few YouTube animations. Sort of when at that time where YouTube was becoming, there wasn't as many people on there, so the views were quite high, and they were starting to monetize it, so that was quite exciting. And I sort of thought I was on that bandwagon of, if I make animation that was based on pop culture, I'd be able to sort of monetize, get views, and do something I love. But it sort of wore out, and then YouTube got very popular, and then monetizing animation became very tricky on YouTube. So I sort of moved on from there, and then later on I made a newspaper comic strip because I like newspaper comic strips about children.
Nice.
Yeah, that's me.
Very cool. That's awesome. So some of your art up on the screen at the moment. Very cool. And I've seen you doing a lot of commercial cartooning around the Southwest. So it's very cool.
I've done a little bits and bobs. Yeah, it's sort of getting a bit of momentum at the moment, which is good. Just sort of I made a film as well last year, and that was just shown in a film festival in Albany, and that included a small bit of animation. And I'll mention that because that was really exciting for me, actually, because I was able to get local children from Walpole to do the voice acting. And even though it's a really small snippet, that's like been a bit of a dream of mine. When I was younger and I started animation, I was sort of forcing my parents and my siblings to voice act, and they didn't really want to do it. But yeah, having real kids playing these playing cartoon characters from Walpole was really cool.
That's awesome.
Did you ask a question?
I just so in terms of where can people find you online if they're looking for you?
Okay. Well, at the moment, probably just the easiest way is just my Instagram, which is Arts by Nathan Viney on Instagram. My website's a bit hidden at the moment, but I'll get it back soon. Or just come down to Walpole. We don't get many visitors.
Nice.
Anyone who's watching who has any questions for us can, of course, post them in the comments on YouTube, Facebook, or now LinkedIn. We're directly streaming to LinkedIn as well now. So
We'll get a job out of this.
We've moved up in the world, eh?
Yeah. We're
Crikey.
We're classy business.
Yeah. Where's the Rolodex? I'm a busy executive promoting stuff on the go. Yes. Hi there, fellow disruptors, etc.
So, Nathan, happy to have you stick around, get involved in the conversation, and we'll.
I have to say, actually, when I was working on this animation last year, which is not very long, but I was using all that time I was listening to your show. It was one of your shows just before the last competition ended, I think, and that's. So I was like, "Oh, you guys are so cool." That's all I'll say about that.
Okay.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice.
So, see, you've been nice to us. You get to come on the show.
Absolutely.
I'm a small-time fan.
Very cool. Thank you very much. Speaking of competitions, the 3:30 animation competition is currently in full swing. The deadline for applications has been extended. There was a call for more people to come through the various channels from some of our sponsors. So we're sending out more announcements, more more Facebook spam to get you guys to sign up for the animation competition. So the 3:30 animation competition, as you well know, is produce 30 seconds of animation in 3 months. At the moment, a month has gone by, so you've got 2 months left. That's still enough time to do something potentially awesome. You could even win it. And there is some rather substantial prizes from our sponsors listed here: Event Cinemas, Ink Animation, Wacom, SAE, Creative Media Institute, Toon Boom, Dell, Quixel, Access Reel, Foundry, Interware, Redbird Creative, and Sandbox Productions. So thank you very much to our sponsors, and we will, yes, it's great. We love having all the people come through. We've got some events coming up later in the year. We'll talk about potentially where we're making appearances. We're making appearances this year.
Oh dear God!
Are we? Oh my God!
Yes,
you got to get the
we
washing
are.
in.
So we'll be at Pixel Expo, and we will have some of our sponsors with us talking about their kit, and we'll be talking about animation, and we'll be handing out brochures to the various training organizations that you could potentially go through to do animation in WA, and we're there to answer questions and do demonstrations and that kind of thing. So when it comes to Pixel Expo, just stop by our booth when you get there, but that's a little way down the track, and we will announce it as it gets closer. So very, very cool. And I keep saying that. I've got to stop repeating the same thing, Tanya. It's not good.
Become a catchphrase, Tanya. It's all right.
It's like sportscasting, you know.
Saying something is cool is not a catchphrase. Like, it's hardly the Tanya's bazinga.
Oh, I don't know, Daddy-o. I think it's pretty current.
Working community.
See, I can do that old man joke.
Cool. I'm hip. I'm up with this jazz.
Yeah. It's mint, mate. It's mint. Sorry, grouse. Pardon me. Oh man, I'm so behind. So yeah.
We're old. Look at us. We're old.
If you haven't already worked it out, do we have any younger committee members for when?
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, let's doing a call out. The West Australian Animation Association needs new committee members, especially younger people, because even you don't want us making decisions for you guys. If you want us to be representatives, we want to hear your voices, so come and talk to us. If you're interested in getting into animation, you want to be in the animation industry, come and talk to us. Get involved in the committee. Come and see what we do. You can contact us through wenamate@gmail.com, and if you're interested, or on the various social medias like LinkedIn, Facebook, the YouTube, or any of these streams. So very, very cool. And I did it again. There we go. Let's talk about the news, people.
Ooh.
Okay, Stranger Things, the animated series, flying back. So Australian homegrown animation company.
Wow.
Yes, producing the Stranger Things animated spin-off series. No news specifically as to what it is. So we'll see how that goes and where it
is that like
off to.
Did you say it's a series or a one-off, or?
It's a series, spin-off series.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see what they can do with it. So will be very interesting. Cool.
Is that same writers?
Not sure.
I don't
Probably
think
not.
Too much information other than that's happening, and this is the production company that's doing it.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's basically they just
a taste.
I think Flying Bark announced it last week or not that long ago.
There's been a few Netflix announcements of their schedule for 2023 and 2024. Shall we skip to that one?
Yeah. Let's talk about
Yeah,
those.
which we don't have too much detail. There was a fair few things announced, but besides the Stranger Things, the one that caught my eye was Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks film. So, you know, any SpongeBob fans out there, Sandy's getting her own spin-off movie. So let's see how that goes.
Wow.
I also saw Nimona is coming as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Very, very excited about. I love the graphic novel Nimona, so I'm curious to see how they handle it as an animated animation. So yeah. Sandy Cheeks. On to Don Ernst.
Okay. Don Ernst, film, sound, and music editor, who was also a producer, worked on many hits across both live-action TV and film and animation for more than 50 years. He died a few Sundays back at the age of 89. He had an incredible career in TV. So he worked on such things as Hill Street Blues, Gilligan's Island, Gunsmoke. But for the animation community, he was associated a lot with Ralph Bakshi. So Heavy Traffic, Coonskin, and Lord of the Rings and War he was involved in. And for Walt Disney, he worked Back to Neverland, Fantasia Continued, and later Fantasia 2000. So, you know,
That's
quite a figure in the industry that passed away. Yeah,
quite a resume.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Well, he was, part of the
a
production backbone of Ralph Bakshi stuff, and also, small and large ends of the industry over in the States.
A lot of these faces we don't get to see, and we often, like, nowadays you're kind of forced to watch the credits to things because of stingers at the end of it. But these people who work tirelessly for years producing amazing animations that we love, try and get some recognition for them. So,
well, talking of Ralph Bakshi, is this his Lord of the Rings sequel here?
Yes.
No.
That would be some spin-off, I think. I guess in other news, we have the pan-European audiovisual content producer Media One has announced the acquisition of a majority stake of the Emmy Award-winning company Submarine.
Ooh, what did they do?
I have no idea. I don't know Submarine very well. But it's,
cool. So a lot of bigger companies buying smaller companies at the moment.
Yes, I should imagine that would give some of the locals a little bit of a little thrill of terror. But
the studio responsible for Apollo 10.5 and Undone recently.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm going to phrase the next one as a question for you, David, knowing full well this is your repertoire. The Transformers 1 voice cast has been announced, including Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, John Hamm, Keegan-Michael Peele. Is this a sequel to the 86 movie?
No, it's a prequel of all things. We've got Lawrence Fishburne as Alpha Trion. Scarlett Johansson's playing Alita 1, I believe, as opposed to Alita, as opposed to RC. So so it's looking at the really early days. We're wondering if it's going to be based on some of the early IDW comics that have been released in the 2000s, which looked at the rise of the Decepticon movement and why it started off as a rebellion against a tyrannical government and then just blew out of control. So it could be incredibly interesting things, and we might even see a sympathetic portrayal of Megatron initially. So let's see what happens.
So Megatron has
a kind of a Spartacus story initially in the IDW continuity. So it's a radicalized miner basically, and ends up as a gladiator. So,
well, my next question before we go on: are the Dinobots in it? Because
probably not.
That's what I care about.
They're unlikely because it's a prequel set on Cybertron. So, no. If they stick with normal continuity, no.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay. The Venture Brothers movie has a trailer. Go out and see it. It's awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Add it to my list.
I think I watched it. It was good.
The Venture Brothers is amazing. I'm super excited about the trailer. I'm wondering, because the original was quite offensive. I'm wondering whether it still stands up today and whether they can get away with a lot of things that they used to. We'll see. But I quite enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite animations of all time.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what else do we have? We have at Annecy, we've got Geni Tartakovsky's Fixed has been, I think, dropping, and Kenji
Fixed?
Kamiyama's Lord of the Ring. Yeah, Fixed. I think it's a dog story. That's all I know. But anything that he puts out is worth checking out, I think.
Yeah.
And he, of course, for those who don't know him, he's worked on a lot of old cartoons from the 90s. I think he worked on
Samurai Jack and Dexter's
Yes,
Lab.
Samurai Jack is
Dexter's
his other
Lab.
ones.
Yeah, Puff
Dexter's
Girls.
Lab and the
Hotel Transylvania.
movies. That's the one, the Transylvania movies. Yeah, we had this really interesting method where they'd do things like animate in 3D, but because he's used to staging stuff with these kind of frozen moments, they'd
That's right,
re-render bits without the motion blur. So you'd have an animation, but then some of the frames would be unmotion blurred in the middle of it. So you'd catch it and then it would keep going.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
That was something special about those
anything
movies.
You wouldn't thought so, being an Adam Sandler produced thing, but
No.
there's one thing Adam Sandler has the ability to do. It's surround himself with a pretty sound group of people. I've never been a great fan of his movies, but I'm told he's quite a cool guy to work for.
So that's it.
Well, I just
West
couldn't
Australian
get into
animation community are blacklisted.
Oh no,
Love it.
Yeah, but when I saw the Transylvania films, like, oh man, I can totally get into this. Where's this guy been all this time? So yeah,
Of
he had a
course,
thing in the
with
90s that worked, and he just milked it. But anyway, I don't know anything about War of the Rohirrim. But I avoid Lord of the Rings stuff like the plague generally. And but we do know about the Super Mario Brothers movie. So apparently, it's become the 10th highest animated grossing film in human history and the universe, and it apparently crossed the $1 billion mark. So
Tanya's
the ticket
capsule
prices have been
review-
really high. It's really huge.
Tanya's capsule review of the film is, I hated it.
One generation there, Tanya.
I am totally.
We're definitely
I
being
am
blacklisted
totally
now.
not the Mario person. I sat where there was a bunch of kids kicking the back of my seat the entire time, and my niece, who was sitting next to me at the time, next to my time, was having her hair pulled. And I'm like, I just.
Was it the
Yeah.
film or was it something else that you did?
The film looks pretty. It's not my thing, really.
No.
I'm not.
It does
I'm
seem
not.
like a large cutscene, but I can understand why it's doing well. It doesn't have, live action Mario in it.
I remember when I was a kid, I'd be, playing games or watching games, and then the cutscene would come on, and I'd be like, I don't want to play a game. I just want to watch the cutscene. And I just wish the whole thing was cutscenes. I haven't seen
there you go to
the new one. I haven't seen the movie.
Well,
like that.
The film, if you love Mario, I'm sure you can get something out of it. It's just Mario's not my thing. I've played Mario 64, and that's really the only Mario game that I enjoyed playing. But
I watched Wreck-It Ralph yesterday, and I was thinking as I was watching Wreck-It Ralph, this is pretty good. Maybe I just won't bother going to see Mario. I'll just watch this again.
Oh, maybe 10 years later, really.
You might enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I'll find time at some point.
I can see why it's working, because it actually it's got the feel of the games, basically. It feels like a big party, and you'll get together and have a big, colourful ball of fun for like 2 hours. So
Yeah.
I have no problems with that.
I think
Most
I
of the
need an
video game
interval.
movies are pretty terrible, but this one seems to be right on the mark. It spoke to its audience. It treated them well. It respected them. what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, and Jack Black, God bless him, has definitely been leaning into the publicity tour and doing his regard.
Certainly has.
His song.
Did I hear the song is charting?
Really?
There's various
surprised me.
floating around either animated or live action versions of it. So
after appearing in The Mandalorian the other week as well, it's like Jack.
Did he appear in that? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a
We're definitely
conversation.
going to get blacklisted now. Yeah. So Nathan, I guess you got your wish. If you want to see a 2-hour cutscene and be charged $20 for the privilege, the Mario Brothers movie is for you.
It may be for me.
I'll have to check it out. I think it's probably something I should stay relevant with. But
let's have a look at next month's releases.
Ooh.
Oh.
Like I don't know what a couple of these are, David.
Is that
Okay, so Ultraman, I can't really speak too much on, other than I should really be able to talk more about it. It's one of the big
Ultraman.
One of the it's one of the icons of Japanese superheroes, basically, and it's been around since I want to say the 70s.
Yes, I remember talking to people in Australia who actually worked on the original series with models, Thunderbird-style models.
Yeah, and
the guy was a model maker with a shed full of models. David Rutherford, I think his name was. And they were on this series that had like 39 episodes that had to be churned out once a week. And they basically had to build an entire city and a whole bunch of models and then blow it all up in 1 week, then start again in the next week. And he was, I think at the time, trying to tap into me like, how do I get into 3D? Get me out of these models. And he had a shed full of fantastic models. It was great. But yeah, Ultraman, it's a huge thing. They had a monster of the week every week. There'd be, the tree stump monster or the giant mushroom monster or something, some kind of themed villain. And then Ultraman, who was usually about the size of an office block or something, would have a big punch up with them or something like that.
Yeah, like I
can
speak about Gundam. I can speak about a lot of the kaiju stuff. But when it comes to Super Sentai, not really your man for this. But
he's like a forerunner of Power Rangers, and he's
like
a kaiju version of it from the 70s television age.
Yeah,
that's probably always a bit
what
obscure.
they basically drew upon to bodgy together Power Rangers back when Saban did it in the 90s. But that's a huge discussion to go through.
Completely.
Netflix season 3 of Ultraman is hitting next month. And
it certainly updated him.
Yeah, absolutely. And season 1 of Mulligan, which looks to be after an alien invasion, Earth starts over again, and that's looking forward as to what's happening there. So I don't know much about Mulligan, but new animated series, let's give it a watch and see what it's like. Disney's
very similar to the Inside Job. So
maybe because that's Inside Job's, the various Illuminatis, aliens, conspiracies, and Hollow Earthers are actually all true and working together. This looks like it's just one cause has happened, and then going forward from the. This is like the after the end credits of Independence Day, if anyone cared. Or Mars Attacks maybe is probably a better. All right. So what else have we got? We got Jedi Young Adventures, which is Young Jedi Adventures, which is dropped.
I'm watching it. I'm actually enjoying it. It's a preschool series. It's quite fun.
Right. Okay. Is that a blue Ewok?
No, he's not. He's not an
good
Ewok,
question.
But he fills the role of the small cute character that. It's a cutesy preschool series. It's all about friendship and helping each other, and they've changed his voice again, which annoys me. But there's nothing I can.
How
do
different
about
is
it? It's quite different. It feels a little bit alien. It feels like a bad impersonation.
Just alien.
Yeah.
What?
But yeah, the series is fun. It's preschool. It's totally.
And it has lightsabers.
Yeah.
And it's also not the only Star Wars thing to drop on Disney in as far as animated's concerned, because we're getting Star Wars Visions Season 2, which will have an interesting collection of things, including Aardman.
I am really looking forward to seeing Aardman's take on Star Wars.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm in that. Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be amazing. And Cartoon Saloon.
Cartoon Saloon. So yeah, I didn't like season 1 much. There was some episodes that I enjoyed, but overall, I wasn't a big fan of season 1 of Star Wars.
Because anthology shows, everything it can be very hit and miss. So yeah, I didn't get much out of season 1 either. But let's see what season 2's got.
Sort of a
Gremlins
approach.
Animatrix, yeah.
Secret of the Mogwai is coming.
Excuse me.
Oh,
I'm super excited.
I've got to say, they're very suitable for cartoons.
HBO Max,
Oh.
is putting out Secrets of the Mogwai, which is a prequel series to Gremlins, focusing on Gizmo. And for some reason, he's called Gizmo, even though Billy names him Gizmo in the movie. I don't know.
Got to keep that brand name.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure some time travel mix-up will have it happen, and we'll see. I'm loving the cartoon design of the show so far.
Looks good.
It's
picture.
Interesting. I'm excited to see where they take the Gremlins. And,
unfortunately, no Australian date has been announced for it yet, so we just got to keep an eye out.
HBO. So if we get HBO Max, we've got to get it through Prime. Prime subs.
Okay, that's excellent.
Because you can do subs through Prime, but that's annoying. And Unicorn Warriors Eternal. So tell us about that, Dave.
Oh, there's not too much to tell other than it's the next Gendy. So
I watched the trailer.
Yeah, it should be interesting. It looks a lot like Symbiotic Warriors, that sort of Symbiotic Warriors, that sort of idea of Gendy. So warriors traveling through time in different incarnations, tapping into spiritual aspects of themselves, and trying to stop an upcoming apocalypse. So I like the sounds of it. I like what I've seen, like the one trailer I've seen of it, and I'm there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Animation looks beautiful in that.
Sorry, Symbiotic Titan. That was the one I was trying to think of. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Let's have a quick squint.
Okay, so that is our upcoming, and then there's more coming. There's a lot more coming. So Netflix really dropped that list of upcoming. So we'll see how the release schedule. So I'm sure we'll see more things as we come up.
Things will be dropped.
I was a bit annoyed that there was a Gorillas thing gonna be made a film, but they dropped that one.
These things happen.
Yeah, the Gorillas film has been on and off for a while. Like, I'm not sure that it
pretty
was
much the whole time that Gorillas has existed.
I'm curious to see what they could do with it. There'd have to be licensing issues, considering one of the band members is from the Powerpuff Girls. So Craig McCracken's got to be involved, and of course,
absolutely.
Some of you may have noticed my coffee mug.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
The blonde and blue. Yeah. It's
Cool.
The Bubbles fan. Anyway, let's jump onto our next bit. The great debate. Okay. We don't know how we're going to tackle this. This is just a topic Tanya has wanted to cover for a while. And and I think we could passionately go in many directions. I've just got some things to say in terms of certain things, but you know, I'm opinionated, and people put up with me because of that. That being said, let's talk about the Groening-verse, which is the best name for it.
The Groening-verse.
The Groening.
Groan.
Yes. Matt Groening is now Matt came into doing The Simpsons through the Tracy Ullman Show. He was working on various other things, but obviously The Simpsons was a big deal. Like those shorts that came out of the Tracy Ullman Show, I remember because I was, what was it, 90? I was about.
It was 87 was the Ullman Show. So early teens.
I would have been 20.
I remember hearing about The Simpsons. So this is fully just at the end of Alf. If you remember Alf.
I tried to avoid it for many years back in the 80s.
I'm rewatching season 1 of Alf at the moment.
Oh, God. I think we should put an 80s watch on Tanya, I think.
Does that still end at a downer?
Yeah, it did.
What, Alf?
Yes.
I've forgotten everything, and I'm rewatching it. So yeah.
All right.
Yes.
I think I heard that news from a 21st century aggregator site on Facebook or something. But anyway.
No spoilers, please, for a show that's 25 years old.
God. 35 years old.
All right, so let's get back into
35 years old. Oh, geez. Okay.
Well, you know, all my favourite films from the 70s are all celebrating their 40th anniversaries left, right, and centre, and that was a couple of years ago. Yeah. I mean, I first heard about. Oh, sorry.
Go on.
Oh, well, I first heard about The Simpsons when I was studying animation at Swinburne in 1990, and it was just about to come out, and I raced off and bought myself a Bart Simpson T-shirt. So in the early days, it was all about Bart Simpson, and then about after the first series, it sort of segued to be all about Homer. But I remember as an animation student, after going through the perils of trying to make my own productions and getting them off the ground, reading about how they were approaching the animation in The Simpsons, and everything I read just utterly impressed me. It was like network TV animation or cable TV animation, but they seemed to be doing everything right. They were doing the scripting right, they were doing the funding right, they were doing the production right, they were giving themselves 9 months an episode and then, you know, staggering them in sequence. So it's like, man, they're doing absolutely everything you'd want to hear an animated production to do. And then the series actually came out and it was like, oh, didn't cure cancer, but that's pretty good. And then very quickly warmed up. And you know what I mean? Expectations go through the roof.
Yeah.
It's pretty internet, really. And then it just went from strength to strength. And it what was unusual about it, it really did feel a bit rebellious and kind of counterculture-ish. The showrunner was, you know, someone who'd been very much influenced by politics in the 60s and 70s, as Futurama fans will attest, looking at all the Nixon heads floating in tanks everywhere. So it's got a very strong echo of that era, and it's got a very strong skeptical observational satire that's been absolutely on the mark, so much so that people seem to think it predicts things, when in actual fact it's just making very astute observations about what was happening at the time and then extrapolating them to their logical lunatic conclusion, which we seem to find ourselves in real life. And so, you know, there's a sense in at least the first 7 to 8 series, at least, it was very sharp and on tag. I think after that it started to turn into MASH. It was just there forever.
And it's really weird because it was the first big hit for Fox, of all things, and it's part of what launched them. You know,
that's
got
pretty
them
much right.
So many households.
So when you look at Fox and that crowd, you've got to remember that one end of the lunatic spectrum, they're dealing with the Fox News crowd, and at the other end, they're servicing the other demographic, the liberal crowd with the Simpsons.
Oh, I never thought of that.
And all the other shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and all that sort of stuff, that was all Foxtel. Well, at least in Australia, it was Foxtel.
Yeah, and Simpsons is very aware of it too. Very willing to hang a lampshade on that end of the business and see what it can get away with.
Absolutely. So it was always pushing boundaries, and that was one of the things that attracted me to it when I was reading up about it. Like, they were just going for it. So
it sounds like an amazing moment in time for you to actually just be studying that, and then suddenly
out of the blue comes up.
Yeah,
a network TV animation turns up, and you think, oh yeah, network TV animation. They're trying to get that back up and running, are they? And then, this looks all right.
Yeah.
I'm sure
inspiring.
It helped. I'm sure its presence helped the 90s cartoon revival a little bit. I don't think it necessarily started it, but it certainly would have made it easier to get funding off the ground. There was a lot of people laying into the art style as being shit and crap and can't draw and all that sort of stuff. But when I looked at it, it's like, well, that's the problem of how do you solve drawing lots of animation, 30-minute episodes for network television or cable television, which is an even bigger mouth than network television. So that's the style.
I followed it for a couple of seasons. I personally found it was riffing a lot off what Flintstones and Jetsons had done. There was a lot of that. However, you're right in that it was really, really laying into
it was very sharp, very true.
But at the time, I was chasing shiny things in terms of my viewing. I still do to a degree, but I followed the fandom to The Simpsons, and then I was out of it just as quick.
Yeah, the thing I distinctly remember about The Simpsons, especially in the time I was watching it for those first 7, 6, 7, 8 series, was that it was packed to the brim with postmodern references to just about everything, and you'd have some really sharp observational satires, and then you'd also have some really sharp cultural references, and they had references to all kinds of weird stuff. Brunel films occasionally, or not the usual.
The Prisoner,
The Prisoner, yeah. They had all these references to all this stuff, and so it was highly articulate and very sort of intellectual and very well researched.
And made every reference their own as well.
Embedded and not thrust in your face the way Family
That's right.
Does.
It was like exactly. Family Fire seemed to be a fast knockoff at the time, and it was like trading on the fact that it was referring on pop culture items, and then suddenly it ran out of pop culture icons after the first season, pretty much. Sort of
quite often The Simpsons did things that hidden in the background, like they solved like an intense maths problem or something at one point. And it was they just put the solution on a blackboard in the background, and apparently maths worldwide went
many a true word said in jest, eh? Yeah.
But
I think their Tron episode was the highlight for me. Homer Simpson is a 3D character. He's standing there thinking, I seem to be generating a lot of money just by standing here. Yeah.
They're the episodes that I tend to like the most, where The Simpsons is referencing itself and actually poking fun at itself. So things like Homer in the Third Dimension and the Simpsons spin-off special, for those spin-offs that don't exist. Chief Wiggum PI.
Yeah.
That's right. They did the whole thing where they send up the whole 90s kid turns up. Was it the Itchy and Scratchy have a 90s hit kid? Like, he's got a backwards facing cap and he's
Poochie.
Poochie.
Oh, Poochie,
yeah.
Nice.
Oh, it's so painful to watch. It's like, that's so true. And it was, it was so bad that even back in the 90s when that came out, that felt painfully true. It really felt like it had aged before it even got started.
I like David has written a note here in our Simpsons notes that I have to say is started in 1989 and is likely to run to the heat death of the universe.
I'd say so.
Yeah, will we ever see an end to The Simpsons?
Well,
I mean,
as long as Dominion lawsuits have to be paid off for Fox News, probably not.
Look, it'll happen. It'll happen eventually.
We're definitely going to get
in
blacklisted.
our lifetime,
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe the heat death of News Limited or something. So
I wonder if they've.
I think we should reference the Don Hertzfeldt catch gag for this one, because Don's catch gag basically sends the Simpsons forward to like 3 million years
I remember
into
that.
the
That's
future.
right.
Yeah.
I am Homer. I am Homer.
But the whole couch gag thing was an institution. It's like the Mad Foley, except an animated version. And what was crazy, they had guest stars from all over the place doing it. Everyone from
guest animators, which
French
is
animation to avant-garde, like all the kind of weird indie guys got in there once or twice. It was pretty cool.
They even had like a storyboard from Banksy at one point.
That's right.
The compulsory Akira gag for the couch as well. You got to have that.
I wonder if
I think my favorite couch. What's your favorite couch gag?
Oh God.
I
think the 3 billion year in the future one was
the Don Hertzfeldt one is good.
What was the one that had Rick and Morty turn up?
The Rick and Morty one is great.
It was kind of like
the Guillermo del Toro one is my favorite. Guillermo del Toro really references himself quite a bit. but there's a couple of moments in there, like the Simpsons enslaved underneath the city, putting holes in CDs and DVDs with unicorn horns. It's just so nice. Got a favorite catch gag?
Well, I was thinking about it, and then I was like, I mean, I don't know if I can choose, some of the originals, just where the couch is just playing up on and the family just sit on it, just like all the, the trumpet players and the dancers, like there's some real classic ones just in the early episodes.
There's so many, I guess, can't think of any offhand.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It definitely started changing in more recent years, or not really recent now, but that's when they started getting all the other animators in and playing around with it. And I don't even know how it works with length of the episode, with length of couch gag, because some of them are really long.
The length of episodes of things is lost to time now with streaming. Things are as long as they are now. So.
That's true. I think the Netflix solution is to basically make 9 hours of something continuously and then chop it up into uneven bits or that is a deliberate
decision to get people on streaming channels going, they've made this episode 4 minutes shorter than the previous one. We're missing out. Yeah.
Correct.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the future they made a whole episode that was just one couch gag, because that seems like the sort of obscure thing that they would do.
Yeah. But I mean, you think about it. I mean, it's a large institution, the old Simpsons. It's completely eclipsed the Flintstones and all that sort of stuff.
It's weird looking at it, isn't it? Because it's not the first. You've got the Flintstones, which was riffing on the Honeymooners. You've got other adult animations like Wait Until Your Father Gets Home, which we've been talking about recently.
Yes.
But this is the one that seems to have hit. This is the one that seems to have stayed. And it seems to have had a knock-on effect for the industry and for viewers. It really has. It's been in many ways, it's been what's allowed a lot of older viewers to continue liking animation into their 20s.
That's really important.
Well, it was considered really out there and radical when it first appeared. I mean, you look at it now.
It wasn't,
no, it wasn't. But by at the time, it was, especially coming out of cable TV and networks, animated for all purpose.
I have my copy of Simpsons Sings the Blues with the hit single Bartman.
Love
the Batman.
Yes. Batman. Okay, so 10 years into The Simpsons, and Fry falls into a fridge.
That's
So
right.
we're looking at Futurama for the first time. So 1999 to 2003 was with
Jeez,
Fox.
really? Is it that long ago?
Yep. Well, remember the original When Fry Falls into the Fridge is
Yeah,
looking at his father's
The
worried about
Millennial.
Hey,
Yes.
it's
course,
New Year's
3000.
Eve of 1999, and then he's jettisoned into the future as such, like Rogers style. But so first was 1999 to 2003. Second was on Comedy Channel 2008 to 2013.
Okay,
And that started with the movies initially, and then they actually got a few seasons extra under their belt after those movies, because they showed the movies first, then cut them up for TV presentation, and then a couple of seasons. I think it was 2 or 3 after that.
so
And
I remember it not being continuous.
Yeah, it's cut up.
Yeah.
It's the Lazarus of his work. It really is. It just keeps dropping down, coming back up again, dropping down, coming back up again. So
it's kind of his love letter to the sci-fi fandoms that have grown alongside The Simpsons.
Yep.
There's this awesome. It's very referential. There's definitely a lot
It's even more referential than The Simpsons, and I think it's been very influential to how a lot of shows are milking those member berries going forward.
Definitely.
We were talking about Lower Decks. There wouldn't be a Lower Decks if there wasn't for Futurama. That's definite. And it's not even the first, Futurama extensively is an office comedy based in space as such, despite the fact that the office is on Earth, that in the future they travel in spaceships. Because we had Quark before that for TV series. We've had Carpenter's Dark Star, Red Dwarf. There was office comedies in space before then. The idea was there, but this seems to have hit the general zeitgeist at the time and been effective in the early 2000s.
I thought it was the main cable television's equivalent of Douglas Adams for a while there. So it's like vaguely
I think it's
satirical.
amazing that he got hit a bullseye on his second massive project. It's not flawless, but it's to get that after The Simpsons is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
How, in your minds, how does it compare to The Simpsons? I personally, it's more comfortable to me. Whether it's a better show or not, I don't know. There's definitely some better writing in there.
It's a different show because it at least allows itself to advance somewhat. It doesn't have to necessarily reset to that 0 point that The Simpsons seems to reset to.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, sci-fi and internet culture, I think it's pretty relevant, but I still think The Simpsons would edge it out in terms of being an institutional foundation that a lot of other stuff is still sitting on. Including Futurama, In fact, I don't think Futurama probably wouldn't have happened without The Simpsons.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. It's
And I
difficult
don't
to
just mean because
compare
he had
because
success.
it's difficult to compare because Simpsons being on so long has had such bad points, and then Futurama having a bit of a shorter run has I guess it's got more opportunity to just be better, if you know what I mean.
It's got less bad points than The Simpsons because there's less there.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's why it's more comfortable.
There's something like 200 regular characters in The Simpsons or something, isn't there?
There
200 recognizable characters?
They get to be that in Futurama as well. There's a huge amount of characters.
Yeah, there's quite a lot in Futurama,
there's 1,400 zillion robots on top of on top of the people part. Yeah. So
some really strong character designs as well in both shows, in all shows.
Yeah. They made decisions. Of course, it's known that they created the yellow skin for The Simpsons for ease of flicking through channels and go, oh, Simpsons, because the yellow skin. Futurama, less relying on that, but I kind of like their characters a lot more. There's definitely they jump back and forth across the various characters in terms of how they treat them as main characters or not. But there's some awesome weird backstories for all those characters. Zoidberg is amazing.
Zoidberg's fantastic.
The Simpsons kind of relies on the family. I think there's a lot of background characters in Futurama that really can hold the show on their own.
Futurama has on the family as well, but it's a self-made family rather than Simpsons family born into it.
Well, there's Zach Brannigan and other characters and Kif. Like I could watch an entire Zach Brannigan Kif series.
The newsreaders.
Yeah.
A mutant from a 1950s US sci-fi film.
What was Kang and Korg? Is that?
That's the Simpsons. Yeah.
Simpsons. The Amazon Perseus 7, I want to say. The Invaders there. I'm just trying to remember their names.
The mutants from This Island Earth, I think.
Oh yeah, very similar to the
Yeah.
Is it legit that it's been cancelled and brought back several times? Like, does it deserve to have this staying power? I'm in the recent announcement. I'm kind of like, do we need more Futurama? Like, they've got to the end.
In some ways, I think it's been surpassed now. I'd like to see how it goes, but you've got things like Venture Brothers or Archer or Lower Decks that have done what Futurama was doing and refined it even further. And
they've specialized in various areas.
Futurama
was more like The Simpsons. It was general purpose for everywhere all the time.
Yeah, they're much sharper and much more cutting comedy in those areas. They really are. They have quite a sharp wit about them, and sometimes that rapier like wit can draw blood, especially in Archer and Venture Brothers.
It's true. Speaking of rapier wits and drawing blood,
segue
heaven onto Disenchantment. Okay, so Disenchantment appeared 2018. So
recent.
We're
season 4, I think, or season 3.
Season 4, or part 4 as it is. There's only 10 episodes each season. It's much smaller and compact than the other two series, which have Simpsons has an infinity amount of episodes, and Futurama is pushing towards that. Disenchantment is structurally different in that it tends to be a continuous story. It holds kind of a special place for me. It was really comforting in a rough time of my life. So that 2018 period, I was absorbing Disenchantment. I've watched the whole series over like 3 times now, and I'll probably watch it again before the 5th season comes, and I'm super excited about it. Also, Princess Bean is one of those characters where one of the 2 characters that I have cosplayed as.
Oh, cool.
Do we have photographic evidence to be
there
provided?
Yes.
Is it in the slideshow?
No, it's not in the slideshow. Let's see if I can find it. I'll see if I can find it. Oh man.
You pulled it up.
Yeah. I should have shut my mouth.
If you share later, it's all right.
Yeah, I will. At some point. I'll find the. But yeah, it's I think, a lot wittier stories that are written than the other two shows. Maybe it was just the time that I needed specifically that show. The main character is female and queer, and actually kind of pushy and annoying the way I tend to be. So I kind of relate with her a bit. So that's kind of where I sit in terms of I love it. But
Yeah.
I want to hear from you guys.
It was kind of weird for me because it was very continuous. It was the same story. But I think one of the things I did like about it was because it was taking the piss half the time, it went freely everywhere with great abandon. And it was kind of, what's the word, uninhibited and unself-conscious that a lot of these turgid fantasy backstories tend to be. It just went for it, and it seemed to kind of skip through it really nicely. So I felt it was really good fantasy. Covered a whole pile of stuff, sent it up in all the right spots. You know, it's a bit like a Terry Pratchett or a Douglas Adams, but with a different voice. And so I really enjoyed it for that. Yeah. There you go.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's
See if
weird.
I can-
It's one of those I think works better for its main storyline than it does necessarily its parodies or its references.
I agree.
Yeah.
I remember Matt Groening saying that the whole different method with this one was putting the story first and then working the jokes into the script. For me, I love the world building, and again, I love the character designs. I think they're flawless. And I love those. Animation's changed a little bit compared to the other two. Just new studios, new people, new whatever, Netflix, all that. But for me, I find it difficult to get through because so many awkward jokes for me. There's every now and then there's one that will get me, but I find the other two shows funnier, and that keeps me going. Whereas for this, it is enjoyable for the story and the fantasy, but I haven't been able to get through it as easily as the other two.
Makes sense.
There you go.
I like Matt Berry's cameo. Oh wow, you got the freckles.
Nice.
Yes.
Excellent.
So, yeah, one of the two times, I'm not going to show you the other times, but let's just say I was painted entirely blue. There is photo evidence. Yeah.
I was honestly expecting
Wow.
a bushy squirrel tail. So
See,
Well, that'd be the third one.
I could do that with those teeth. So,
You can
So,
also do Olaf.
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 Yeah,
Oh, yeah, the teeth as well. Yes.
Yeah.
From Frozen.
But yeah, Bean is a cool character.
She's great. I think this one got into a more like the emotionally, the characters fell into dark pits a lot more.
Literally.
So, yeah, literally and both figuratively and emotionally. So you'd see poor old Elfo being the butt of everyone's jokes, and you could really see him suffering through it. And I think that's probably what made
There's
it a bit tricky
also
for some people.
a mental process that they work through, each of the characters. Even Lucy, who's a demon and whose job is essentially to torment Bean, and he's fundamentally lazy. He can't be bothered doing it, and he kind of gets this existential crisis himself about whether what his role is, and so the trio kind of works. Elfo's awesome because he is part of a browbeaten. There's comments on people in subservient positions and trying to rise out of that, but also falling back into it quite a bit as well. I just find it's a lot more of a comfortable show for me.
I like the flexibility for drama, which the other two don't have.
Definitely.
That like you're
That's
saying, falling into pits. They can use that. They could put story first and consider characters' journeys, which you don't get in the other two, which is a reason to watch it.
mildly in Futurama, but not to
I find I care about the character's story. Yeah. Whereas, there is definitely that in Futurama. It's not that in The Simpsons because of the rewrites and everything. But obviously, Leela's background and the relationship with Fry, and there's definitely some of that in there, but it's delved into and honed a lot more into.
Oh, absolutely! It's also a reflection of how far we've come in long form storytelling. Like 20 years, we're much more willing to embrace a season arc or an overall series arc for characters. Than we were like.
This is going to sound horrible, but I remember when Ned's wife Maud died.
I remember that was jarring.
And I remember watching that and going, "Oh wow, this show is changing its tune. It's going to be that things are going to stick at the end of episodes, and there's going to be some story." I don't know why I thought this, but I just thought this could be a turning point. And obviously,
Barney stopped being an alcoholic. So.
They every now and then they'll like advertise like someone's going to do something that changes their character. That was actually a big change as well. Yeah.
I like what The Simpsons does in terms of actors that fall out of public favor or have died. Phil Hartman, obviously, is kind of the big one at that point, and then other characters that have died and they've just retired the character, not brought them back. But Simpsons comes from a time where you could still get away with blackface on TV, and now you've got the cast going, no, we're not going to do the racist characters anymore. So it's actually they've been around long enough so they can actually make those statements. And I'm sure there's those longtime fans who are going, "Oh, this is just too woke," who don't actually understand that times have changed. And
do you think it's better for them to retire those characters and then bring in new people with new voices, or to replace the voices? Is that what are they doing?
So they're retiring the characters. I don't think we'll see Apu again.
I think Barney disappeared. So.
Yeah. So so the whole
That's
thing
good.
about
I like that.
Yeah.
And also, Disenchantment has Noel Fielding as well as the Executioner.
Yeah, and Matt
How can
Berry
you go
in
wrong?
No Fielding is great. Like the background cast, of course, you got John DiMaggio as the king. So after being on Bender and doing Jake the Dog for this Adventure Time. And then you've got a lot of awesome.
Who plays the Pig? The other Bush, the IT guy, boss. What's his name? Oh God, no.
Matt Berry.
Laszlo.
Laszlo
the vampire. Yeah. So Matt Berry. Matt Berry's amazing. Great characters. Very nice.
It's pretty good. So there's lots in Disenchanted that I like, but I think The Simpsons is still the king for icons and the institution that I think all others follow. So if you're going to talk about, influence and stuff like that, I think it's like trying to compare the internet to the Gutenberg press. They both changed the world, but I think one got in there first.
Lindsay's going for Simpsons. Where are you falling, Dave?
Look, for personal love, it's got to be Futurama. I really think that honed what the Simpsons created, but that's not looking necessarily at direct influence. Although, having said that, the year after Futurama, we did get a massive boost from Cartoon Network. Because you had Aqua Teen and Hunger Force come out, you had Harvey Birdman and Tony at Law, and there was one other that all sort of started Brack Show, so Space Ghost that all came out of the 2000s. So obviously that might have been pushed that way by
Mm.
Futurama, or it might just be the
Probably.
constant push of The Simpsons and people trying to cycle things that will catch up to that sort of crowd and be the next adult animation.
Mm.
So if I'm Disenchantment, Lindsay is The Simpsons, and you're Futurama, Nathan, you've got to break the tie here. Where do you fall?
It's too easy for me, unfortunately. I love Batman, and I love the movie as well. I think the movie is so good. So
The movie is
Simpsons.
excellent.
Ah, I should have known
Yeah.
the Warpole kids. I should have known.
Yeah, King's Speecher,
Yeah.
King's Syndication, hey?
Yeah.
And the what's the
so
other
many
character?
of my early characters had. Look, I brought these out as I forgot. I got props out. I got a little Lisa.
Ah,
Nice.
here.
Oh,
So I
yeah,
who's
Dave-
gonna win.
Dave-
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking's action figure from The Simpsons.
No way. That's incredible.
Still in the plastic wrap.
Yeah.
will never be a hit with that. Oh well.
See, I don't have any. I actually do have. I don't have any Disenchantment merchandise,
get
but
some.
of course, I've got
Is
my
that
big
some?
chunky bean boots. So,
Yeah, you've got yourself in the photograph.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Lindsay, where's your merch?
Oh, I think I've worn it out years ago.
Yeah.
This is the Bart
Ah.
Simpson T-shirt. Got in there
So-
before
Oh,
it
yeah.
became a cool thing.
So unfairly, I'm going to say that Simpsons have won this battle.
Oh, before we resolve.
But which one's my
what
favorite?
About, what about
It's a toss-up between Disenchantment and Futurama.
what are you thinking on theme songs? Whose favorite
Ooh.
theme song? Because I think they're all amazing.
Yeah.
The Simpsons. Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun.
That's a tough one to beat.
It's The Simpsons. It's The Simpsons. Totally.
It's got to be The
You reckon?
Simpsons.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
I was thinking Futurama myself. But...
No, Futurama doesn't
Yeah.
sound
No,
like
I think-
anything
I
other
think-
than industrial.
Mm.
Yeah. I think you're
I
right.
actually
The Simpsons
really
is-
like Disenchanted.
Mm.
I forgot the name.
So
It's amazing.
So yeah, you've done. I've been concentrating the entire.
the Disney thing.
Disenchanted is the Disney film. Disenchantment is.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. My
Mm,
Can't take us
Oh, good.
anywhere.
Oh, good. I corrected.
I'm
it
sorry,
in the
viewers.
notes.
thank you.
Yeah.
yeah.
But the Disenchantment
Mm.
intro is great. And I
Mm.
really like what they've done with backgrounds and stuff. So they've taken
Mm.
the technology that they built in Futurama and taken it to the next level. It's a
Yeah.
lot more
Mm.
painterly,
Yeah.
and feels nice. So there's definitely a step up in quality for each version. Simpsons simplified itself from the first, second, third season as they got used to drawing the characters, and then it had been
Yeah.
really refined by the time you got to Futurama. So those characters still feel like the Simpsons universe through to Princess Bean, but the quality of what's going into the backgrounds and the animation, it's definitely stepping up each time.
Backgrounds are
The
very
Simpsons-
nice.
Yeah, they really are. Simpsons, take a look at the difference just in 2 years on the Ullman show to the design that hit Fox at those times. There's a lot of refinement there. It's
Yeah.
Well,
rough.
he essentially created an entire genre of character design,
Yeah.
didn't he?
How
How
to the
many
point where
applications have you seen where you can make yourself into a Simpsons character or something?
there's I think it's the first season of The Simpsons includes 5 characters that in the intro animation. So as Bart zipping by on the skateboard, you see 5 characters at a bus stop, and they all break the Simpsons character creation rules. After season 1, they're erased and removed, and so and those characters completely taken out. So the rules that they built up over time, like Bart and Lisa are the only characters who have their hair outlines that blend into their
Yeah,
heads.
yeah.
Yeah. So
That
those
reminds me
characters-
and
in
Maggie
Steven
as well.
Universe. In Steven Universe, I think they were quite loosey-goosey about who had ears or something in the first series, and then as the show went on, they gained ears, but they left one character out who they thought was a bit of an odd character, so he just didn't have ears for the rest of the show.
Yeah,
What's that?
I'll have to look
Is
at
that-
it again.
It was Onion.
Is
Was the
it-
character?
Onion.
That makes sense. 'Cause onion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He was the oddball, wasn't he?
yeah. But my first character I made when I was younger, and then I worked on this character all the way up until a few years ago, and then I sort of stopped doing him. He even had, and the characters I was building around that universe even had that sort of eyes and then the nose coming out thing. And I have so many different inspirations from different places, and because Simpsons is so common, and I've obviously seen it a lot and forgotten
The background
somewhat.
radiation, really?
That's right, and then I forget how much of an influence it actually had on my art and everything I enjoyed drawing for so many years. But it did. It's a really good style, like you said. He created the whole design.
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
actually get my animation students to do a Simpsons character. It drives them up the wall because it requires them to be quite accurate. But
Yeah.
But it's a good exercise to get them thinking, hey, if I want to work in this industry, I've got to be able to adapt myself to other styles.
And I love
And work with
the
people.
fact that his Elfo just looks like a Bart. I love that. It's so cool.
Yeah, he does. He's definitely Bartish. There's
Yeah.
there's a lot of that. It's very cool. Well, I
Anyway.
think we're petering out. So let's wrap this up. I think Simpsons definitively win, as sad as I am about that. Look, I tried to pull on the heartstrings.
Which one would I be more inclined to watch right now? Would it be Disenchantment or Futurama? I mean, Simpsons is so background. It's just like it's like watching the news. We talk about modern society being crap and all the rest of it. No, why don't we make great things like the pyramids while standing right next door to a large freeway that goes for 100 kilometers in either direction? You think, yeah, there's a mega structure right there, but we don't notice that stuff because it's background radiation. And that's where the Simpsons are. It was so successful it became invisible.
Yeah.
That's I guess the point I'd make. It's like it did its job so well. It's all pervasive. It's almost like they invented a whole new species of character. There's Disney characters, there's Peanuts, there's the Kinks Syndicate's features, and then there's the Simpsons. A whole new phyla of character was invented with the Simpsons. It's that
Any final
iconic
words
and
from you,
fundamental.
David?
No, not really. Be interesting to see how the reboot happens. Interesting to see how next season of Disenchantment goes going forwards, and
Yes. That
And
finale.
interesting to see how Simpsons will end.
yes, if it will, if we ever see that, I don't think we will.
To be fair, I've watched episodes. Every now and then I go back and watch like a random new episode, and they're not bad. I mean, like you said, they're probably not. You wouldn't want to necessarily switch it on right now, but they're not bad. They put a bit of effort into some of the writing in the later episodes, and every now and then there'll be a really hilarious bit of animation. You're just like, whoa! So, and it's better than the other shows, Family Guy and whatever else.
I agree.
Playing.
I've caught up on
Sorry, Family Guy fans.
Treehouse, but that's been about it for me.
Well, I actually feel like going and watching some episodes of Disenchantment right now. So
Yeah.
I might do that. And thank you very much for everyone joining us. Thank you, Nathan. Once again, where can you be found?
Oh, me. Instagram, Art by Nathan Viney is my Instagram.
Cool.
Very, very cool. And hopefully we'll have you back at some point to talk more animation, and we'll catch up in the real world at some point.
Yeah. See you guys around.
Yeah. It's
Nice to meet you
awesome.
all, by the way, via this.
Nice to meet you.
Indeed.
So we'll do our usual sign off. I'm Tanya Beeson.
I'm David.
I'm Lindsay.
And thank you for joining us for the Wanamate podcast. I'm going to let things wind down as the guys disappear into their evenings. And I'll leave you with Tanya in Bean cosplay. Because,
there you go.
There you go. So have a good evening, everyone. And we'll talk soon.
Catch you in a month's time.
Yeah,
Catch you
see you
later.
in a month's time.